Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Jake, and in this video I'm going to be showing you step by step how you can create your own website using WordPress. So this video is going to be broken down into 4 different sections. So before we get into creating the website, there's a couple things, basic things that you need to know when it comes to setting up a website. So the first thing is you need to know about your domain name, and this is the first thing that we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So your domain name is essentially just the name of your website. So for example, Google's domain name is google.com, as you can see up here. YouTube's domain name is youtube.com. Walmart's domain name would be walmart.com, and so on and so forth. So your domain name is literally just the name of your website, and then .com, .org, .net, whatever ending you decide to go with. And once you have a domain name, you're going to need to get website hosting. So website hosting is essentially a computer that is up 24/7 that is storing all of the data and information from your website. So if you don't have web hosting, then there's really nowhere to actually store all of the data and information from your site. So whenever you go to your site, it's just going to be a completely blank page. So in order to create a fully functional website, you need a domain name, so that way users can type in your name in the URL bar and find your website. And then you need hosting, so that way you have a place where you can actually store all of your information and data from the website. So it may seem complicated at first, but it's really not. And if you follow this tutorial step by step, you're going to be good to go, and it's going to be extremely easy to get your website up and running. So after we have our domain name and our hosting, we need to install WordPress, and we can do this in one simple click, as you will see in a couple of minutes. And then after we install WordPress, we need to go ahead and begin creating our website. So once we're inside of WordPress, we can choose different themes and layouts that help us design our website faster. We can create different pages in our site, change the color schemes and things like that. We can add in logos, and we can do much more, and we're going to be covering all of that in this video. Now, one more thing before we go ahead and get started, I wanted to go over pricing. So your domain name is normally going to run you approximately $13 per year. So it's relatively cheap to go ahead and buy a domain name. And then your website hosting is normally going to be around $10 per month. However, I'm going to be showing you a way that we can go ahead and get started for less than this. So if you were to go ahead and get started based off these prices, it would cost you approximately $23 up front today. But I'm going to be showing you a way that you can start for $12 up front today. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this tutorial now. So I'm going to be going pretty slow and step by step, so that way nobody gets left behind. And if I do end up skipping something or you get lost on anything, definitely don't hesitate to leave a question in the comments and let me know what you need. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with getting our domain name and our hosting, so that way we can start actually creating our site. So the first thing we're going to need to do is head over to hostgator.com. So hostgator.com. And HostGator is a web hosting site. And the cool thing about this is we can not only get our web hosting here, but we can also get our domain name here. So we can get everything done from one website, which makes everything super easy and super simple. Now, what we're going to do is head over here to web hosting. Now, I know that we're creating a WordPress site, so you may be asking, why aren't we going ahead with the WordPress hosting option? And that's because I feel like the WordPress hosting option adds a little bit too many extra complications that just really aren't necessary. We're going to just be going completely bare bones and keeping it as simple as possible in this tutorial. So we're going to click on web hosting right here. And then we're going to come down here, and you can see that there are 3 different plans here. Now, we're going to start off with the cheapest plan here, which is the hatchling plan. So we can see it comes with a single domain. We can have a one-click install, which is going to be a one-click WordPress install. And you can see that it also comes with a free SSL certificate, which is this HTTPS up here. So our domain is going to be secured. So we're going to go ahead and just click on Buy Now. And then right here, we can go ahead and enter our domain. So at this point, you just need to go ahead and decide what name you want to name your site. So in this case, I would just put in casual e-commerce. And since I already own casualecommerce.com, I'll go ahead and in this case, just pick .net. Now I would recommend normally that you go ahead and choose the .com just because that's normally most associated with people. Most people associate the .com with websites, so I would recommend getting the .com. And now we can go ahead and scroll down and you can see that it's going to suggest buying all of the other domains with the different endings. You don't need to do this. Just go ahead and enter your domain and get the .com variant. And then we're going to scroll down here. Now this first option here we can see is we can add domain privacy protection. So if we uncheck this, we can actually see what it does. So we can see that if you do not have domain privacy, you can see that your information will be available online to anyone who looks up in the Whois database, looks up your domain in the Whois database. So this really isn't that big of an issue, and it isn't something you absolutely need to do. It's not really that big of a deal to have no privacy on this domain. However, if you do have the extra budget, then you can go ahead and add domain privacy protection. But for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and go with the cheapest possible setup that we can. So I'm going to uncheck this here. And now we can come down here to where we need to choose a hosting plan. So we can see that we already have the hatchling package type selected. So what we're going to see here is we can choose our billing cycle. Now you can see that when you sign up for more months at one time, you can see that it gives you a bulk discount. So if you were really trying to get the most bang for your buck and you plan on having your website up for a while, then you can go ahead and choose a plan that's at least the 12 or 24 month, because you will get a large discount here. As you can see, 33% off on 12 months, 24 months will give you 55% off. However, in this video, I want to show you guys how you can start your website up for as cheap as possible. So I'm going to be selecting the 1 month. And then here we can go ahead and select the username. And then we need to select a security PIN. And then we're going to scroll down here. Now, this is where you just enter your billing information, and I'm going to enter this later where it's not on the video. So once you've entered your billing information, you're going to scroll down here, and we're just going to uncheck these additional services here. We're going to uncheck site lock monitoring. We're going to uncheck site backup. There's ways you can do this for completely free within WordPress. And now we're going to go ahead and scroll down here. Now, as you can see, the amount due here is $24.63 to go ahead and get your website up and running. Now, like I said, I was going to show you a way that you can go ahead and get this started with just $12. So what we're going to do here is change the basic coupon code that's already in here. So we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to type in casual ecom. So CASUALECOM, and then click validate. And then once this goes ahead and activates here, you can see that we now have a $14 discount, and our first month of hosting only costs 1 cent. And we can see that now the amount due is only $12.96. So this is the cheapest way that you can go ahead and get a WordPress website started online with legitimate hosting. So what we're going to do now is just click this button right here and then click checkout now. And when this menu comes up here to tell us about yourself, we can just go ahead and exit out. And now once we are inside here, we can go ahead and go to our dashboard. And now we can see that we have our domain name here inside of our hosting package. Now, what we're going to do here is just highlight our domain name and click go to, and we're going to see if it's up yet. Now you can see that normally as soon as you first check out, our website is not going to be up immediately. So sometimes you have to wait a couple minutes. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's a few hours, but normally it's within an hour or so. Our website will be up and running, and then we will be able to go ahead and install WordPress. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and I'm going to come back as soon as the website is up and ready to go. Alright, so it's been a little while, and now as you can see, if we go ahead and go to our site again, we can see that now it's showing up here that we are set up on HostGator, and now we need to go ahead and actually install WordPress so we can go ahead and get started creating our site. So what we're going to go ahead and do is in the dashboard here, click on this orange button that says Launch cPanel, and we're going to wait for this to go ahead and load up. And now that we are inside of here, what we're going to do is scroll down, and we are going to click on Quick Install under the software section. So we're going to click Quick Install, and then it's going to open up this Site Builders and CMS, which is Content Management Systems. And what we're going to do is go ahead and select WordPress. So as you can see, installing WordPress is free. So we're going to click on this. And then now we're going to select our domain for installation. So we're going to select our domain here that we just got. And we're going to click Next. And then we're going to go ahead and just name the site. So we can just do that. And then we can go ahead and create our login information here. So for this video, I'll just put admin. And then I can go ahead and just put my name in here. And then we can go ahead and put our admin email address. And then we are going to leave checked, automatically create a new database for this installation. And then we need to check and agree to the terms of service agreement. And we don't need any of these bonuses down here because I'm going to be showing you how you can do all of this for free. And then we're just going to click install. And now as we sit here and wait a second, we can see that WordPress has just been installed on our site. And now we can see our login information right here. So what I would recommend you do is you go ahead and bring up a Google Doc or an Excel sheet, wherever you like to keep all of your password information, and go ahead and save this information. So in order to log in to a WordPress site to go ahead and manage it, you're going to need your base URL, and you're going to need to add something to the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up a notepad. So this is where you will go ahead and put, wherever you put your password information, make sure to put this. So it will be yoursite.com or .net/WP and then -admin. So this will be the login URL, how you log into WordPress. And then right here, we can go ahead and put our username and our password. So make sure you save this information somewhere where you can easily get to it. And now we're going to go ahead and open up a tab and log into our site by going to oursite.com/WP-admin, and it will forward us to the login information here. And then we go ahead and log in with the credentials that we just received. And then we can log in. And now you can see that we are already in the back end of our WordPress site. So now you can see we have successfully installed WordPress on our site. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do really quick is launch our site just so I can show you what it will look like by default. So you can see here your site is currently displaying a coming soon page. Once you are ready to launch your site, click here. So I'm just going to click here. Alright, so now that we're successfully logged into the back end of our WordPress website, we're going to go ahead and do a couple basic housekeeping things to kind of clean things up. So as you can see right now, if we scroll over visit site and I open this in a new tab, we can see that we have a skeleton of a website up right now. So it doesn't look like much, but some people will charge you upwards of a few $100s just to get to this point, which is kind of ridiculous when you consider that it took us about 10 minutes and only cost us about $12. So we're going to go ahead and get working on making this a little bit better. So the first thing we're going to do is clean up some of our plugins. So when we first install WordPress on our site, there's these things called plugins that are going to come along with it. So WordPress doesn't come with everything you need. So it essentially, as you can view it as like the foundation of your house. So WordPress is the foundation, and then plugins could be things like new windows, doors, things like that. It's the things that you add on to your house to help it improve. So a couple examples of this could be like a plugin that gives you a nice contact form, or a plugin that lets you back up your website and different things like that. Now, normally when you install WordPress on your website initially, it's going to come with a lot of plugins already installed, and the majority of these are going to be not very useful, so we're not really going to need those. So initially what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of them. So to do that, we're going to come down here to plugins and click installed plugins. And we're going to scroll down here and click this right here to select all of them. And then I'm going to click bulk actions, deactivate, and then click on apply. And that's going to deactivate all of these plugins here. Then we're going to select all of them again, bulk actions, then delete, and then apply. And then we're just going to select OK. And this is going to delete all of these plugins here, since we don't really need any of these plugins right now. And now you'll notice that our back end is a lot cleaner. There's not as much going on. There's a lot less confusion, so it's going to be easier moving forward. We didn't really need any of these anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is edit our permalinks, which is our URL structure. So if we come over here and I go ahead and open up a sample post, you can see that this is the URL structure right here. So it's casuallycommerce.net/index.php, and then the date that it was posted, and then the actual name of the post. And if you go to any major website, you'll notice that this index and date part isn't in the URL structure at all. It would just simply look like this, yourwebsite.com.net, and then the name of the page. And this is what we want our URL structure to look like as well. We don't need all of that confusing gibberish in the center. So to do that, we're going to come back over here and then go over settings, and then we're going to go down to permalinks right here. And you can see that it starts out on custom structure, and to this day I don't know why it always starts it out with this confusing nonsense, because no one really uses it. But all we're going to do is come up here to post name and then click save changes, and then we're good to go. So now if you see, if I come over here to the sample post and click refresh, so now that you can see that I went over to the sample page and click refresh, it's no longer there because this URL doesn't work. But if we come down here to this post again, we can see that now it is showing this shortened URL, and that's how all of our URLs are going to look from now on. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and customize our username and password really quick. So we're going to come to users and then all users. And then this is our admin account right here, so we can just click on edit. And the username we can't change because that's what we signed up with, so this is going to be solidified. So whatever you made your username, you have to stick to that. You can change your nickname here, so if you just want to make it your name, that's fine. And what we're going to come down here and change is our password. So we can go under account management and then hit generate password. Because before we had that very long and random password that was auto-generated for us when we created our site initially, and you probably don't want that password because it's going to be hard to remember. So if you want to go ahead and change it to something that's easier to remember, you can go ahead and just put that in right here, and then you would just click update profile. So the next thing we're going to do is head over to pages, and now we're going to clear out some of our pages here. So we can see that it comes with some sample pages once we install, so we want to go ahead and just get rid of these. So I'm going to click all of these, and then I'm going to click move to trash, and then I'm going to click apply, and then I'm going to come to post, all posts, and we're going to go ahead and clear these out as well. So we're going to clear out this one, select them all, and then move to trash, and then click apply. And now at this point, our site is pretty much a clean slate. If we come back to the home page, it's completely blank. And at this point, we can go ahead and move on to theme selection, which is what we're going to get into right now. Alright, so now at this point, we've pretty much cleaned up everything we needed to clean up on the site. So we essentially have a completely blank skeleton, no pages, no nothing. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and install a theme, and we're going to be using a cool theme here to where we're going to essentially just import an entire site in a couple of clicks. So that's why I went ahead and deleted all the plugins, the pages, and the posts, because we're going to go ahead and import a pre-made template. And if this is your first time building a website, this is going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you. So we're going to go to appearance, themes, and then we're going to click add new. And now, like I said, you can use pretty much any theme you want. However, if you want to follow along with this tutorial, it's going to be easier if you use the same one. And the one I'm going to be showing you is one that's going to allow you to go ahead and import an entire website. So it's going to take a lot of the design elements out of it. So we can essentially just go ahead and I'm going to show you how we can just drag and drop, and it's going to be really easy. So we're going to search for a theme called Astra, and then we're just going to click install, and then we're going to click activate. Now we've went ahead and installed this, and if we look at our site real quick, you'll see that not much has changed. It still looks, pretty terrible. But what we're going to do now is come down to plugins and then click add new. And this is where we're going to import essentially a pre-built site like I was just saying. So we're going to come down to plugins, and we're going to search Astra Starter. And we can see right here, we're going to go ahead and install this right here, Astra Starter Sites. So install now. And we're just going to go ahead and activate that in a second, so we can see it's loading up. And what we're going to see here is that Astra offers a bunch of different page builders. So page builders are essentially plugins that makes the website building process a lot easier. So like I was saying earlier, plugins are essentially add-ons to WordPress, and a page builder is one of those add-ons, and it makes designing the site and everything a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and select Elementor because that's the one that I'm familiar with. However, if you already have experience with one of these other ones, you can use those. But for this video, we're going to use Elementor. Then we're going to click Next. And now we are going to be browsing the templates for different already pre-built websites that we can edit using Elementor. So what we can do here is we can see that there's a ton of different pre-built templates here. And you can see there's different categories. So depending on what purpose you're building this website for, you can look at the different categories. So if you're building an e-commerce store, you can look at e-commerce. If you're building a business or an agency type site, you can go ahead and select one of these. Or if you're just building a blog or personal website, you can go ahead and select one of these. So there's a lot of different options, and you can go ahead and look through them and preview them. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and look through the business ones, and we're just going to wait for this to load up. And what you can do is you can actually click on these and click previews. So if I go in and just scroll down, you can just look through all these here. And let's say I just go ahead and click one of these here, and I just click preview. You can see that this is what our site would look like if we go ahead and import this site. So we can see, we can take a look at it, look at different things, and you can see it looks pretty clean, pretty nice. So what you want to do is just go ahead and look at all these and pick the one that you think fits the style of site that you're trying to go ahead and create the best. Now, for the sake of this video, if this is your first time building a site, it would probably be easier for you to go ahead and select the same one that I select, just so that way it's a lot easier for you to figure out how to do the editing process, and then if you want to go back and change it later, you can. So just gonna go ahead and show you how you can just keep looking through a couple more of these, previewing and seeing what they look like. So this is a nice, simple and clean one, and I usually prefer nice, simple, clean ones here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. So we can see that it says we can just click right here to import the site, and what we can do is import different things along with it, so we can install the required plugins. So a lot of these pre-built sites, they're going to require certain plugins that come along with it. So we need to keep this checked. You can see that's not even optional. And then we can import content along with it. We can import customizer settings, and we can import widgets. Now I would recommend just go ahead and keeping all of this checked, because then we'll just be able to go ahead and edit all of this ourselves. So I'm going to just go ahead and click import site now. And you can see that this process is going to take anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes, depending on how quick your internet is and the size of the website. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just speed this up, and then I'll be right back as soon as everything is imported and we can start editing. Alright, so it's went ahead and finished up, and you can see it only took 59 seconds, so not too bad. And now what we can go ahead and do is take a look at the site. So I'm going to click View Site. And once it loads up, you can see that just like that, we've went ahead and essentially added a ton of different pages to our site in just one click. So what we can do is we can see that we can go ahead and look through these different places here. We have like an about page, we have a blog page, we have a contact page, and we are pretty much good to go. Now you can see that right here, it kind of installed duplicates on the menu here. Now sometimes it will do that depending on the site you install. So if it does that, I'm going to show you how to fix that really quickly. So we can come down in here and come to the dashboard. And now I'm going to go to pages. And you can see that just duplicate pages were created. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just delete the duplicates here. Alright, so I've went ahead and I just deleted the duplicate pages there, because as you can see, every page was duplicated, and sometimes that happens during installation. There's sometimes little glitches and hiccups, so all I had to do was go into pages and go ahead and delete the duplicates out. Now this normally won't happen for you, but in case it does, I'll go ahead and keep this included in the video. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is go through some of the basics. So what we can do right here first is, now that we have an entire template laid out for our site, we essentially just need to start filling stuff in. So as we can see, it comes with a theme, it comes with images and everything like this, and it comes with all the text and everything in there and different pages. So now all we need to do is essentially customize it to get it to match the brand and type of thing that we're trying to create. And it's actually really easy to do. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mess with the header really quick. So we're going to come up here to customize. And we're going to wait for this to load up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go in the layout. And then we're going to click on header. And then we're going to go to site identity. And now we can see here that we can change this logo. So obviously, if you have a logo already, this is where we want to go ahead and put it in. And if you don't have a logo, I'm actually going to show you really quickly how you can make a really basic one to go ahead and put up here in the meantime. And I'm also going to show you somewhere where you can get a professional logo design. So first off, we're going to go ahead and just type in logo maker in Google real quick, and we're going to go to this one right here. So it's logo, LOGOMAKR.com. So just logo maker without the E. And this site's going to let us create essentially free logos. Now, it's not going to be anything super crazy. It's going to be pretty basic. However, it's a good way to start, and you definitely want something up here that isn't, the base logo that already comes with the template site. So I'm going to go ahead and build this sample site out to kind of be like a marketing agency site. So I'll just go ahead and search for like moon. And you can see I'm just going to go ahead and just select one of these. I'll just select this one. And with this here, you can go ahead and play with it by messing with the different sizes. I could put in text, and you could put like your company name here. So in this case, I could put like Luna Digital, and then we can go ahead, rotate the name around, keep it straight. We can resize it to make it the same size as the logo. We can just make it a little bit bigger, and then I'll center that a little bit. We can come in here and edit the text color, so we can make it whatever color we want. I will go back to a blue. And we can go ahead and do other things like coming in here to shapes. And let's see, we can do a circle. And we can make the circle big like this. And what I can do with the circle here is drag it down below, so it would be in the background. And we could say make it like black, make it a little bit bigger. And pretty much you get the gist of it. There's a lot of different ways that you can come in here and play around with different stuff. You can play with fonts. Obviously, this doesn't look extremely good, but you're going to spend a little bit more time on it than I am right here. I just wanted to go ahead and show you quickly how you can go ahead and utilize this. So you can mess with shapes, text, colors, and then you can look for different icons and everything like that. Now, for this example, I'm going to just keep it really simple, and I'm just only going to use this as the base logo. Now, if you want a more professional looking logo, I would recommend going to Fiverr and then just typing in logo and then find a gig on here. And a lot of these people will design a professional logo for you for anywhere between like $5 to $50. Like a really good logo is going to run you around $50. But for the sake of getting the site up and running, we're just going to do something really basic like this. So what I'm going to do now that this is up is I'm just going to go ahead and save it. And in this case, I'm going to just download the low resolution file for free, just because it's an example site. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and get the high resolution, you can purchase it here. and now it's went ahead and downloaded. So now that we have our logo, we can come back over here and click change logo, and then we can go ahead and select one to put in here. So we can come here and then select files, and then we can go ahead and upload our image here. And you can see the media library is already filled with a bunch of different images that come base installed with the theme, so that's pretty cool. And we're going to go ahead and click select. And we're just going to skip cropping. And now you can see that the logo has now been updated. So we can edit the width if we want. We can make it really big, which obviously that looks terrible, or we can make it a lot smaller. In this case, I'll keep it around, I'm just typing it, we'll keep it at 100. And then down here, we can edit the site title. So sometimes your logo, if it's a logo that includes text, then you can go ahead and just get rid of this entirely if your logo had text in it. But since this logo doesn't, I'll go ahead and just type in a site title, and then we can put in a tagline here, and I'll just get rid of the tagline for the sake of this example. And now we're going to go ahead and just click publish. Alright, so now that we've went ahead and edited the logo and the header, we're going to go ahead and X this out. And we are going to start editing the actual meat and potatoes of the site here. So we're going to get back to the home screen here, and then we're going to click edit with Elementor. I'm going to open this up. And this is a tool that's going to allow us to edit literally everything on the entire site. So as you can see, there's a lot of different widgets over here that we can use, and essentially everything here is a widget, but since we went ahead and imported a site, it's already pre-made with a layout of widgets. So that's essentially what the site is. When you import it, it's just a bunch of these widgets put together and then filled out with default information. So it saves you a lot of time of dragging and dropping all these different widgets and trying to figure out a layout that looks clean. If you import the site, you go ahead and you have a layout that already looks good. So I'm going to show you how you can edit different things, and then obviously if you want to add more different widgets, you can just kind of drag and drop them in. So the first thing you can do is you can literally just click on anything to edit it. So I can click on this text and I can get rid of it, and I can just start typing whatever I want. So in this case, I could start typing. So since this is going to be the main header, the main home screen of your site, you would probably put something here like your tagline or something, depending on what type of site you're trying to build. So if it's like a marketing agency, like in this example, I could put something like, do you want more online leads for your business? And you can see it's really easy to go ahead and edit this text, and we can come in here and we can edit the text from this end here if we want, and we can go over here and change like the alignment. So we can align it left, align it center, right. Most of the time you're just going to keep it center. That normally looks the best. And we can also edit different things like the style. So if we come over here, now we can edit things like the text color. So I can make it red, blue, green, pretty much whatever color you want. Now when it comes to colors, you're normally going to want to match it up with the branding of your site. So you'll notice a lot of sites, they essentially use the same color scheme throughout the entire site. So that's something that you're going to want to stick to as well. And it's also going to depend on the background photo here. So in this case, I will keep it at white. And we can also change things like the typography. So you can make it really big, really small. I think it looks better right around this size. We can go ahead and change a bunch of different things like the font family. So we can go ahead and change the font to, let's say, just Arial. We can change it to Verdana, pretty much whatever you want. One thing to keep in mind is if you change the font in one place, you're going to want all the font throughout your site to be pretty congruent. So if you change the font here, you'll probably want to change it everywhere else. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it at default. But just know this is how you can go ahead and edit that. And then you can also add a text shadow if you want. So you can do things like blur it. And it's really hard to see that show up right there because of the background. But if you look closely, you can see the blur on the outside. And you can see that we can add the text shadow. You can see the shadows right there, just little effects. In this case, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to keep it at 0. And that's how you can go ahead and edit the different text and things like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this button. And now that we're clicking on the button, we can see that we can go ahead and change the text in here just like before. So I could type in something like free consultation. And then this is where we can put the link to where we want this button to link to. So let's say we have a page that's like our discovery form, or we have our contact form. In this case, I'll just keep it simple, and we'll go ahead and put the contact form link here. So if they click on they want a free consultation, they'll go to the contact form. Now, depending on the type of site you're building, you just want to go ahead and make sure that it links to the correct page. In the case of a marketing agency, you would usually have this lead to some sort of discovery form where you set up like a phone call or something. But in this case, I'm just going to hover over contact, right click and copy link address. And then I'm going to Control V to put that in here. So now this button will lead to the contact page. And whatever link you put in here is where the button's going to go, so just keep that in mind. And we can also change things like the size of the buttons. We can make it really tiny, or we can make it really big. In this case, I'll make it large. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and edit the style of the button a little bit. So just like before, we can edit the typography a little bit. So we can change the size. So we can mess with that a little bit. We can do things, we can change the letter spacing a little bit. So you can see that just spaces out the letters, and doing this different stuff actually edits the button size itself. Now what I would recommend is just probably not messing around with this too much unless you really want to, dive deep into editing very small things. I just wanted to show you how to go ahead and be able to do this, but I wouldn't recommend changing too much of it because it's just going to overcomplicate things. So like you can change the style, change the style of the text, but we'll just go ahead and keep it at default. And the main thing you're really going to be editing here is the text color and the background color. So we can click on this and we can go ahead and change the background color to, let's say, gray, and gray matches the color of our logo, so that makes sense. And we can go ahead and change the text color to like black, but black doesn't really look good on gray, so we'll just go back to white. And like I said, you just put whatever color matches the branding of your site you're trying to go for. And then once we have this set up, we can just click update. And now at this point, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and change this background image here. So we're going to click on these dots right above the section, click edit section. And what we're going to do now is go to style. And now you can see that there is an image right here, and this is our background image. So what I want to do is I'm going to put in a different image just to show you how to do that. So we can click on delete, and now this image is gone, and now you can see it's just a blank color. Now what we want to do is go ahead and put our own image in here. So I already have an image on my computer I'm going to use, but if you don't have an image that you want to use, I'm going to show you a couple websites that you can use really quick to find free stock images that look good. So the first one is Pixabay. So you can search for free images on here. So we could search for something like forest. And then you can see we could come here and then get the free download. So Pixabay is one site you can use. Pexels is another one, and you can just do the same thing. You can just search for free photos and then click on them and then get the free download. So those are two sites you can use to get free stock photos. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I don't want this video to be too long. But you can get some free photos from there, and then once we deleted the background, we can come to image and then go ahead and upload one. So as you can see, we can choose from the media library already of photos that already were imported with the site, but I'm going to go ahead and upload my own file. And I'm just going to upload this photo here, and I'm going to wait for it to go, and then I'm going to just click insert media. And now you can see that this photo has now been uploaded, and this background fits a marketing agency a lot more than the nature background that was there before. But now you can see that by changing the background photo, it can make the buttons look a little bit worse. So maybe now that the background photo is a little different, it's a lot harder to see this button. So I'd want to come back here and change the button color again. So I'd click on it, click on background color, and in this case I could go with something a little more maybe yellow, since that is another color that's in my logo in this case. So we could go for a yellow and then click update. And a good tip you can do, what you really want to be doing is matching up the colors exactly. So if I wanted to really do this the correct way, I would go into the image file here and I'd match up the hex code from here and match that with the buttons. So if you go to Google real quick, I'll show you how you can do that. So hex code finder, and then we can just click on this first site here, and if we upload the file, and then you can click on this right here, and then here is the hex code for that color of yellow. So what I could come back and do is go to the background color, input the hex code, and now it matches up perfectly. So that's just another way to make the colors in your site more congruent. So now, as you can see, I'm going to click update, and we went ahead and edited a good portion of our site. So now we can see that what started out as a imported template is starting to look a lot more like a custom site. So you can see we got the logo and we have the header. So now what we can do is scroll down and we can start editing these different sections. Now, the important thing to keep in mind is that these sections are really all optional. So you can keep all these default sections in, or you can say delete one of these sections, or you can go ahead and add more sections in. Now, in this case, I'm not going to go through and edit every single section. I more so want to show you the functionality of how to do everything. So now that we've went ahead and edited a section, editing all of the other sections will be exactly the same. So like you could come down here, click on this, delete this image, and then put in your own image, and you can click on this text and change the text to your name, and you can change like your own text to like owner, and then brief description of your business here, and then you can change the buttons and everything. So instead of going through and doing the same things that I've already taught you throughout here, I'm going to go ahead and show you some different functionality, because it wouldn't really be serving you very well if I just edit all of the same stuff, when essentially editing this section is exactly the same as what we did up here. It's just the template looks a little different, but it's the same thing. We can go ahead and click. We can go ahead and click the buttons, edit. All the editing is the same. We can go in and edit the background. We can do the same stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how to do some different functionality. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click on this X here, and what it's going to do is it's going to get rid of that section. So you can see that I clicked on that, and that section is just completely gone. Alright, so now that we've went ahead and deleted a section, I'm going to show you how you can add one. So what we can do is we can just go ahead and drag one of these widgets over here down to here. So in this case, let's say I wanted to just do a image box. I can just drag it into here, and you can see that here we go, we have a widget, and we edit it just like the other ones. So I could add an image in here. Let's say I'll just go ahead and look through the ones that are already here. I could add one, insert the media, click on this text, and then edit the text, and then we can go ahead and edit this text as well, and we can also edit it over here. So adding in different types of widgets and everything is really easy. And then we can come over here and just delete that again. And we can look at some of the other widgets. So we could add in a image carousel. And in this case, we could go ahead and just click add images. And I'm just going to add a few here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then create a new gallery. And then insert the gallery. And now you can see that we have a carousel of images here that will kind of that can be scrolled through when people are visiting your site. So what you can do is you can just go through here and look at all of these different widgets, and you can play with different ones. So like a good one for an agency, for example, would probably be testimonials. So you'd want different testimonials. So if you had a customer testimonial, you could come in here, you can upload a picture of them, and then you can copy and paste the testimonial into here. So let's say Jake's marketing services were great. So you could like copy that in, and then you could put in his occupation, his name, and you could upload an image of him right here. And then you just click update, and then you essentially can just play around with all these different widgets and add whatever it is you want. So now I'm going to show you a different type of functionality. So at this point, you pretty much know how to edit widgets. You can delete widgets, you can drag widgets in. So at this point, we know how to edit everything we need to do on these different pages. We can come in here and edit all these different services. So it could be like SEO, and you can see how quickly we can do this. So if I were to let me just show you an example of, like, let's say how fast you can do this once you get used to it. So I could do like SEO, Google Ads, and when I'm just trying to go really fast, we can get this done super quickly. And then you can just type in things like get targeted leads from social media, and you just type in whatever it is you want. So like I said, we went ahead and covered how to do this, so I'm not going to go ahead and edit all this in front of you. Just wanted to show you how really quick and easy it is once you get the hang of it. So now I want to show you a little something different. So we're going to come down to this section here, and I'm going to click on this image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete it. Alright, so now that I've showed you how to add full widgets into the site, full sections into the site, and how to remove full sections, I'm going to show you how you can actually edit individual sections within the template. So as you can see, this was a text here and image here. But what if you want to keep the text here and, let's say, maybe add a video over here? So the first thing we need to do is right click on where the image was and click delete, and now we have an empty section. So now all we have to do is make sure we click this grid icon up here to bring the widgets back up, and we can go ahead and drag whatever we want into here. So as you can see, we could put an image back, or we could just delete that again, and I'm going to go ahead and drag a video in here instead. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and choose a video from YouTube to go ahead and put on our site. So in this case, I'm going to go to YouTube and we're going to select one. Alright, so in this case, I'm just going to take a basic video of some ocean waves. So I'm just going to go ahead and click this one. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy the link. So Control C, pause this now, come back over here and paste our video link in here. Now you can obviously put whatever video you want. Maybe if you have a video of you introducing yourself and, you know, explaining a little bit about your company. So if this was an actual marketing agency, I'd probably have, let's say, like a video of me explaining you know, why people should choose our services. Or maybe I'll put up a testimonial here or something like that. So we can go ahead and edit things like the start time. So we can edit the start time in seconds. So if we wanted to start like 2 minutes in, we could just put like 120. It would automatically start at 120 seconds. We could make it autoplay. We can make it loop. We can turn on all of these different options here. We can turn on modest branding, which what that does is that gets rid of some of the YouTube options. And yeah, so it's pretty basic how you can go ahead and add a video in. It's not much harder than an image. So you can add in plenty of videos that you may have from your YouTube channel. And another thing we can go ahead and do is I'm going to show you something completely different now. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this section. And what it's going to do is it's going to make this wide. And now I'm going to click this. I'm going to center it. I'm going to click this. I'm going to click the button rather, and I'm going to center it. And now what I want to do is I'm going to show you how we can use this video in a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this section here. I'm going to go to the style, and I'm going to go to background type, and I'm going to click on background video. So now we can take this same link and we can paste it in here, and the video will actually start playing in the background. So now we can have a start time, so we can start at 10 seconds in and we can end it at 70 seconds, so it could loop that same amount of time. So let's say I wanted to just loop from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. I could go ahead and do that. And what we can do now is we can see that now the text is a little bit harder to see. So depending on the video, you could come in, click back on the text. We could say get rid of that text, click on this text, and then go to style, change the text color to white, and we can see it's a little bit easier to see that now. Alright, so now that the text is visible, you can see that it doesn't really look very good though, because we can't really see too much of the video. So we're going to go over here to layout, and I'm going to go to height and change it to fit the screen. And now you can see the entire video here shows up. So that's how you can go ahead and put a video in the background. So I'm going to just go ahead and update this real quick. And I'm going to click preview changes. And you can now take a look, and we can see that our home page has been customized a lot. So we can see that we have everything in the header that we've done. We have the home page looking good. And you can see down here that we've went ahead and put a video in the background as well. And we put in a testimonial. Now, obviously, this isn't completely filled out, but I'm just trying to show you all of the functionality right now. So at this point, we have essentially went ahead and gone through almost all of the basic functionality that you really need to know when it comes to editing these different templates. So we know how to change colors of buttons. And just to give you an example of what you'd be doing now to fill out everything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and click on this, and I'm just going to take this hex code right here, and you would just go through and match different things. So you click on this button, we change the color of that to the same color. We click on this button, we would change the color to the same color, and just little things like that. and we could go ahead and make this the same button as the other one. So it could be, let's say, free consultation again. And just like before, you can put the link to whatever page you want. So as you can see, all of the editing, no matter what section you're editing, it's always the same functionality. So at this point, it's essentially just what type of things do you want to add into your website. So I think at this point, you probably know you're pretty comfortable with working with the functionality. I mean, we've changed backgrounds, we've put in different widgets, we've edited parts of different widgets. We've went ahead and changed background colors, we've put in background videos, and you can go ahead and edit out different sections of these widgets too if you want. So let's say you maybe only want 2 services here instead of 3. You can literally just go in and delete one, and we can put something else here. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and move on. So now that we've went ahead and went through all of the functionality, we're going to go ahead and move on. So now I'm going to show you how we can mess with the footer. So I'm going to click on these 3 lines here, and I'm going to click exit dashboard and leave since this was already updated. Go ahead and X this out. And depending on the theme here, I'm going to go back to visit site. Now, depending on the site that you install over, your footer is going to be a little different. Sometimes you can edit the footer from here when you hit customize, and you can come down to the same place we went to edit the header, so layout and then footer. But you'll notice here that this footer, this text doesn't match what's right here. So sometimes some of the sites you import, the footer will be editable through here, just like the header. And then some sites you import, the footer will actually be editable through Elementor, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So now if we go over here to edit with Elementor, and then we go to footer, and we can see that this footer is actually something you edit separately on its own. So you can see that this specific site that we imported comes with a pretty advanced footer right here, and it's essentially a email newsletter. So the footer, if you don't know, is just like the header, where it's going to be the same on every page. So just to show you a quick example, let's say I'm going to right click on about, and I'm going to open this in a new tab and just show you right here that we can see that this page obviously hasn't been edited, but the header is still here, and so is our menu. So that's universal. So you edit the header once and it's the same across the entire site. And you can see this hasn't been touched, but you can see that this is the footer, and it can be the same across the entire site as well. So the header and footer are unique in that aspect, where you just edit them once and you're fine, versus the rest of this stuff you have to actually go in for each page and go ahead and edit them. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and edit this footer itself. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just, in this example, I'm going to get rid of a lot of this stuff because I don't really like footers to be this big. So I'm going to just right click and delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete that and that. And now you can see our footer is already shrunk a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on edit section real quick, and I'm going to come down to height, and I'm going to put minimum height, and then I'm going to drag this and make it as small as possible. And then I'm going to come back to here, and we can edit this text just like you would before. So the copyright text, you can just put in like your company name, change the date. And then with the social media icons, we can click on these, and you can see if you have like an Instagram, you put your company Instagram here. And if you don't have like a Google Plus, you can just get rid of it. So you can get rid of the ones you don't have, and you can add the ones you do have in here. And then what I can do is put something else over here. So obviously, just like sticking with the theme in the entire video, you can obviously put in whatever you want. But in this case, I would put in something like a Google Maps if this was like an agency. So I could drag over the Google Maps icon and put it right here. And what you can do is you can just put your address of, the company address. So let's say in this case, I just did like Chicago, Illinois, and that will go ahead and load. And obviously you would put your actual exact business address, but I'm not going to be putting any addresses on here. So we can go ahead and do that, and then you can see that that looks really good. And the Google Map widget is something that looks really good for any type of like client type of agency, any type of marketing agency. It's something that adds a lot of trust and stuff. So depending on what type of site you're making, you can change the widget. In this case, I'll keep the Google Map, and this is a little blank, so I don't really like that, but it is just a spacer. So what I could do is I could go ahead and delete it. And like I said, you can go ahead and edit this footer to your liking. You can add in whatever you want. Like maybe you want to put some sort of like button in here, which is optional. You could definitely put in a call to action button. You can put in any of these things that you want, but I'm going to just keep it like this for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update it, and I'm going to show you how this updates across your site. So first we're going to look at the home page, and you can see we have the same home page as before, and we scroll down here and you can see now our footer is updated. And if we come over here to the about page, so like I was saying earlier, when you edit the footer once, it changes across your entire site, so you only have to do the footer once. So now that we've done the footer, we've pretty much done everything we need to do. So at this point now, I'm just going to show you how you can edit the other pages. So we're going to go ahead and go here, and we're going to go back to our dashboard. And then I'm going to go back to visit site. And all you have to do to edit a different page is we can just click on a different one. So like about, we can click about, and then we can just click edit with Elementor, and it'll open it up. And then we just do literally the same exact thing that we did on the home page, except here. So I could put a picture of myself, and then, put a little description right here about, like, this is my story and why I started the company. And then you can, scroll down and, type more about yourself, or let's say you don't want this section, you can just delete it, and, so on and so forth. So it's literally the same exact thing you do on the home page. At this point, it's essentially just about what do you want your site to look like, and putting in the details. It's essentially just filling in the blanks at this point. And like we've already covered, you already know how to do all of the functionality within Elementor at this point. So every one of these pages is going to be the same. So now I'm going to show you a little something different. So now let's say there's pages you don't want. So let's say there's a books page right here, and you don't want that. So let's say you don't have any books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the dashboard, and I'm going to go over to pages, and let's say you don't have any books, so you don't want it. So it's just going to be just like we did in the beginning of the video. Just going to click on it, move the trash, apply, and that's going to get rid of the video of the page right there. And we can go ahead and open it up, and you can see that it's also disappeared from the navigation. Now let's say we want to change the title of the page, for example. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So like work with me, for example, if this is a marketing agency, I'd probably want to change that to like services. So while we're over here in pages, I would find the work with me page, and I'm going to click quick edit. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to edit the title, and it's going to allow me to edit the URL. So we went over the URL permalinks earlier. So if I click on work with me, you can see that this will go ahead and be casuallycommerce.net/work with me. So if I change the title of the page to, let's say, services, and I want this page to show all of the services that my agency goes ahead and offers, then what I want to go ahead and do is I don't want to keep the URL as work with me. I want to change that to services as well. So what I would do is change this to services, because we want to keep our URLs consistent with the titles of the page. And I'll just click update. And then if I go ahead and refresh this, you can see it's going to take us to the same URL, which doesn't exist anymore. But now we can click on services, which does exist. So you can see it's the same page, but it's a different URL. So that's how you can go ahead and edit a different page. And you can edit the URL, you can edit the names of the page on the menu. And now I'm just going to show you how you can go ahead and add a new page. So let's say there's a page, an additional page that doesn't come with the template that you want to go ahead and add. I'm going to show you how you can add a page and then how you can add it to the menu. So when it comes to adding pages, you're just going to go over here under pages to add new. And I'm just going to get the tips out of here. So let's say we want to add, what type of page we could, let's say we want to add a testimonials page. That might be a good one. So testimonials. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on edit with Elementor. And now it's going to load. And now I can go ahead and add different things into here. So this is essentially creating a page from scratch. So this is something we haven't done yet, but it's the same thing as before. So I could go ahead and add in, a heading. And then I could put testimonials. Center it. And I could go back and add in, let's say something like, start just adding in our testimonials. So I could add in one testimonial, could go back, add in another testimonial, and we could just keep doing this. So this page could just be nothing but our testimonials, and depending on what type of page you want, you just need to go ahead and create it accordingly. So that's how you can go ahead and create a new page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click update. And obviously this is pretty ugly. You'd want to spend a little bit more time cleaning this up. One of the first things you'd want to do is add something like a spacer in here. So just by adding a spacer in, that looks a lot better. And you can make the spacer really huge or really tiny. I'll keep it at like 50. And you click update, and you can see that already looks a lot better. Another thing I would probably do is come in here and change the style and go ahead and make the text bigger. That already looks a lot better. So there's a lot of different things you can go ahead and edit. Like I said, we've went ahead and covered all the functionality earlier in this video, so I just wanted to show you how you can go ahead and create a new page and then edit it within Elementor. So we're going to go ahead and edit, and now I'm going to click view page, and we're going to just take a look at it. And now this page is just like the other ones. It's one that we can come up here and click edit with Elementor, and we can go ahead and begin editing it, and we can drag in different widgets just like before, just like we were doing. We can put video backgrounds, we can do anything you want. So at this point you already know how to use all this functionality. So now what I'm going to do is show you how you can put this page in this menu up here. So if we go back to the dashboard, we can go down here and hover over appearance and then go to menus. And what we are going to do is look here at most recent pages, and you can see the testimonials page we just created. We can check it and then just click add to menu. And now it will be on the menu here, and we can change the order we want it to be on. So we could put it like on top of services, or if you wanted it to be a drop down menu or something, you could do it like this. So you could make it like this, and now it's a sub item. But since testimonials, it's not going to be a sub item of services. But let's say we had different pages for each one of our services. So let's say I was offering a Facebook ad service or a Google ad service. I could put like Facebook ads here, and let's say Google ads here, and that's how you create a drop-down menu. So that's a quick little tip that you can go ahead and implement. But I'm going to just go ahead and save this right here, and we're going to go ahead and visit the site again, and now you'll be able to see that that has been successfully added to the menu. So at this point, we pretty much covered everything you need to know to create your own WordPress website from complete scratch, and for only about $12.96. So it's really cheap. And I know that we didn't cover every single possible way that you can edit your site in this video, but I wanted to try and keep it as simple as possible, so that way if you're a complete beginner, that you are comfortable with the functionality now. So at this point, by this point in the video, you should be really confident in your ability to go ahead and install the Astra theme, select a starter site, and then use Elementor to go ahead and edit all of the widgets. And we've went through all of the functionality. So now all you have to do is put in a little bit of the time and effort on your end to make the site that you've always dreamed of. And with that said, if you have any questions with this video or would like any types of follow-up content, go ahead and leave me that feedback down in the comment section down below. Thanks for sticking with me throughout this entire video, and I really hope that it helped you out. With that said, give it a thumbs up if it did, subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, and I will see you guys in the next video.